There's no denying that Five Nights at Freddy's has become one of the biggest sleeper hits of 2014. I don't believe for a second that Scott Cawthon, the creator of the series himself, could ever have seen the level of success this franchise would attain, and as quickly as it did. It became a cult hit, and then found its way to the mainstream very quickly, and has since spawned 9 games with a 10th on the way, several books, and an on and off again movie deal, and more merch than you could ever even possibly imagine. And you know you've made it big when you get DeviantArt dedicating massive amounts of pages to Chica. The internet works fast when it wants to have a wank. The question of today and the video is this: was his first game, Five Nights at Freddy's, worth as much as of praise and the hype as it got? I revisited this game myself in my own spare time, and I played it a couple of times on stream, and I plan to answer this question as best I can, so let's begin. On a side note, we are not diving into the lore. I'll leave that sinking ship to MatPat, the masochist for the series that he is, but I will outline the basic plot of the game. You're a night guard for Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, keeping an eye on the animatronics after dark when the restaurant closes. They can wander around, and they can and will kill you if they get you, because they think you're an endoskeleton and will shove you into a not so empty suit, killing you. You'll learn as you look into the game that 5 kids have been taken and killed from the pizzeria. And looking at the newspaper clippings, you realise that the bodies have been hidden inside the suits. 5 kids, but only 4 animatronics. Where's the last body hidden? Anyway, any more lore in this video will never end. So, let's start with what makes this game so different from the normal kinds of survival horror games. You don't move, and you can't run away. You receive a call each night with more story development from somebody dubbed Phone Guy, voiced by Scott Cawthon himself.
Hello. Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, a magical place for kids and grown-ups alike, where fantasy and fun come to life. Fazbear Entertainment is not responsible for damage to property or person. Upon discovering that damage or death has occurred, a missing person report will be filed within 90 days or as soon as property and premises have been thoroughly cleaned and bleached and the carpets have been replaced. Blah blah blah.
The first night he tells you how to survive and gives you pointers, but as the week goes on, he sounds more and more nervous.
Oh, hello! Hey, wow, day 4. I knew you could do it. Hey, listen, I may not be around to send you a message tomorrow. It's been a bad night here for me. I'm kind of glad that I recorded my messages for you when I did. Hey, do me a favor. Maybe sometime you can check inside those suits in the back room.
And let's just say what's left of it might be on next week's pizza toppings. It's such an obvious thing to think of nowadays, but at the time it was such a breath of fresh air in a stagnating genre. Fight or flight can't kick in if you can't fight or flight. All you can do is close the doors and hope it's enough, but then you realise the next mechanic has kicked in, so you can't just hide behind the doors. The power meter. The longer you keep those doors closed, the more power you eat up. Get to 0 and, well... So that's not an option. You need to know strategically where the walking nightmare fuels are at any given moment to stop yourself from becoming a red paste in a Fazbear suit, so you use the camera system. The camera system lets you keep an eye on all the animatronics in the restaurant, so you can see where they are at any given point. The only blind spots are at your door, so if you can't see Bonnie or Chica, flash your door light to see if they're looking to play peekaboo with you. Being able to see everything is a blessing and a curse because it adds to the fear that the game already instills so well. It does a masterful job of stressing you out, so check those cameras, which wastes battery power, which makes you stress, which makes you check the cameras. It's a vicious circle. But that's the basic core mechanics. So let's get more into detail about each animatronic and how to deal with them to stay alive. Chica and Bonnie are really simple creatures. They roam about and they come to your door, so the best thing to do is keep an eye on your door light so they can't sneak up on you. You don't need to see them on camera, so already that takes off a massive amount of pressure. Foxy the Pirate is more of a pain, but really easy to keep an eye on him if you know what you're doing. Keep checking on him as often as possible, but never for long, as battery power is precious. If he leaves the stage, immediately close your left door and look at camera 2A. He'll come sprinting down the hallway like Sonic the Hedgehog's methadone-addicted cousin to try and kill you. Or maybe he's come to give you a hug. Either way, you can decide, but it's a game over. Keep the door closed until he runs and you'll be okay. Freddy, however, is rather unpredictable and can be the main reason for your game over again. And again. And again. Best possible strategy is to keep the camera on him, similar to Foxy. The difference being that Freddy doesn't reset. He keeps roaming around the hall, so you can tell when he's on the move when he laughs. But your main goal is to find him and keep looking at him like Foxy to keep them here for as long as possible. If he's outside your door and you look at your camera, you better be ready for Freddy. And with that, that's the game boiled down to its simplest form. Surviving the night though is an entirely different thing. The game and the enemies are completely random in what they do, and because of this it can get really unfair sometimes and needlessly hard. Like Freddy can pop up in your office with no warning a lot of the time, and trust me when I tell you there's no better feeling of being at 5 AM, your power dies, and you still manage to reach 6 AM. Believe me, I get it. Please. No! Yes!
Did you what?
Yes! Oh, thank you, Jesus! But jump scares alone aren't enough to make a horror game scary. So what else makes this game so renowned for horror fans? The sound design, while pretty simplistic, is so well done and subtle a lot of the time. It makes you question if you actually heard something or not. The heavy mechanical footsteps of the animatronics, the low, menacing sounds of laughter. The music you can hear from the restaurant playing quietly every now and again, making you question where everything is coming from. It all comes together to sound like everything is a threat to you and your safety. The static on the cameras adds that extra layer of doubt into the gameplay. You aren't always sure if you can see a glowing pair of eyes or if it's just the graininess of the camera. The game manages to do so much, albeit with very little in the grand scheme of things. But because this was the first in the series, there are issues in the game. The biggest one being its main downfall. Once you work out the audio cues and when the jump scares are coming, that fear is gone and it doesn't come back. A lot of horror games have the issue of the longer it goes, the less scary it becomes because you've adjusted. And Five Nights has this issue in a big way. As the nights go on, you know how to deal with Freddy and his friends, so it's much more dealing with stress than dealing with your fear, an issue all Five Nights have in common. Also, the difficulty in this game can be obscene sometimes. Hell, it can be downright unfair. If you have both Chica and Bonnie in either door, you're still having to check the cam for Freddy and Foxy to stay alive. Your power dies so quickly. I know it takes about half a second late to check the door, knowing you're about to die, because you hear that click on the door, and there's nothing you can do about it. Feels like that scenario is meant to instill fear and dread, but it's more annoyance and frustration. And having to restart a night because of some bullshit death will make you leave the game faster than any jump scare. But having said that, I am glad this game exists, and I feel the first Five Nights at Freddy's is a legitimately great game, issues and all. The only other game to bring this level of fear in this series, in my opinion, is Five Nights 4. So it's time to answer the question I posed at the beginning of the video. Is Five Nights at Freddy's 1 worthy of all the praise and all the hype it received? Yeah, I very much believe it did. The horror elements are still incredible when you're going in blind, because it really was unlike anything else at the time. The graphics are dated, of course. The game is 6 years old now and they weren't exactly cutting edge at the time, but the roughness adds to the game's charm and the camera style hides a lot of the limitations of the game. I wasn't kidding when he said he did a lot with a little. As a game and a horror experience, it does still hold up. Let's think about it this way. This game kickstarted a gaming series phenomenon most publishers could only ever dream of. Could you imagine this series in the hands of EA? But at the end of the day, Scott Cawthon does deserve all the success he has. He made games before, but he never really got the reception he was hoping for, with one of his critiques on one of his games being that the models moved like animatronics. so he used that to his advantage, thus planting the seeds for Five Nights at Freddy's. Scott took a negative from one of his older games and turned it into this juggernaut. There's a life lesson in there somewhere. If at first you don't succeed, terrify millions of children with murderous animatronics. If you've made it to the end of this video, I can't begin to thank you enough for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have enjoyed it, please don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. If this video gets popular enough and the demand is there, I'll possibly retrospect the other Five Nights at Freddy's too, but I'll also be happy if this is a one and done. So thank you so much for watching again, and I hope you have a wonderful day.